France in the late 18th century, a land of striking contrasts. Opulence and poverty existed side by side. In the gilded cages of Versailles, the French aristocracy lived in unimaginable luxury. Their days were filled with decadent balls, extravagant feasts, and endless leisure. The monarchy, personified by the aloof Louis XVI and his queen, Marie Antoinette, seemed oblivious to the plight of their subjects. Beyond the palace walls, a different world existed. The French peasantry, the backbone of the nation, struggled to survive. They toiled endlessly on their meager plots of land, their harvests heavily taxed to support the extravagant lifestyle of the nobility. Hunger was a constant companion, bread a luxury they could scarcely afford. Resentment simmered beneath the surface. The French people, inspired by the Enlightenment ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity, began to question the legitimacy of their rulers. Why should they starve while the king feasted? Why should their lives be dictated by the whims of an out-of-touch elite? The stage was set for a revolution. The disparity between rich and poor, the oppressive taxation, the hunger for change, all these factors coalesced into a powder keg of discontent, waiting for a spark to ignite it. That spark, when it came, would shake France, and indeed the world, to its very core. France teetered on the brink of economic ruin. Decades of lavish spending by the monarchy, coupled with costly foreign wars, had drained the nation's coffers. The burden of taxation fell squarely on the shoulders of the already struggling peasantry. The aristocracy and clergy, meanwhile, enjoyed exemptions and privileges that further fueled the resentment of the masses. Into this cauldron of discontent, the ideas of the Enlightenment poured like fuel onto a fire. Thinkers like Voltaire, Rousseau, and Montesquieu challenged the absolute authority of monarchs. They argued for popular sovereignty, individual rights, and a government accountable to its people. These radical notions resonated deeply with the French people, offering them a glimmer of hope for a better future. Secret pamphlets circulated in the shadows, carrying messages of rebellion and reform. The French people, once resigned to their fate, began to believe that change was possible. The whispers of discontent grew louder, transforming into a roar that could no longer be ignored. The French monarchy, blinded by its own privilege, failed to recognize the gravity of the situation. Louis XVI, more interested in hunting and tinkering with locks than governing, seemed incapable of comprehending the plight of his people. His queen, Marie Antoinette, became a symbol of the monarchy's extravagance and indifference to the suffering around her. The stage was set for a confrontation that would change the course of history. The storm broke in 1789. Faced with a desperate financial crisis, Louis XVI was forced to convene the Estates General, a long-dormant assembly representing the three estates of French society: the clergy, the nobility, and the commoners. The Third Estate, representing the vast majority of the population, arrived with a list of grievances and a determination to be heard. When their demands for reform were ignored, the Third Estate took the audacious step of declaring themselves the National Assembly, the true representatives of the French people. This act of defiance on June 17, 1789, marked the beginning of the French Revolution. Panic gripped the monarchy. Troops were amassed around Paris, raising fears of a crackdown on the burgeoning revolution. On July 14, 1789, a Parisian mob, fueled by fear and fury, stormed the Bastille, a symbol of royal tyranny. The fall of the Bastille became a potent symbol of the revolution, a testament to the power of the people to overthrow their oppressors. The revolution spread like wildfire across France. In the countryside, peasants rose up against their feudal lords, burning chateaux and destroying the symbols of their oppression. The Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen, adopted by the National Assembly on August 26, 1789, proclaimed the fundamental rights of all citizens, including liberty, equality before the law, and freedom of speech and religion. The old order was crumbling, and in its place, a new France was being born, founded on the principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity.